Welcome to the X Crimes.
We are back, and we are continuing our deep dive into, what is arguably one of the most controversial legal cases in modern American history.
The death of Kaylee Marie Anthony.
And, of course, the acquittal of her mother, Casey Anthony. This is part 2.
Right. And in part 1, we really took our time, and I think it was crucial to analyze the core dynamic of that family. George, Cindy, Casey, and Kaylee. Because that whole highly fractured, really dysfunctional environment is just absolutely essential to understanding every single decision that was made.
And every lie that was told?
Exactly. Right up to the defense strategy they used in court.
Precisely. And so now we're picking up the story right at that point of, let's call it maximum crisis. This is where the private family tragedy just explodes into a national spectacle.
Okay, so where are we in the timeline?
Kaylee has been missing for 31 days. And it is so critical to remember the foundation of this crisis.
Which is that Casey never reported her daughter missing.
Never. Not once. It was the grandmother, Cindy, who finally had to force the issue. She's the one who dialed law enforcement, but only after, confronting Casey again and again about the missing child.
And about that smell,
Oh.
the stench coming from her car.
That's right.
And look, if you haven't already, please make sure to hit that subscribe button for more deep dives into these kinds of complex cases.
Mm-hmm.
We really do promise to keep unpacking these mysteries for you.
For this specific segment, we are going to cover the immediate fallout. So we're talking about the mother's initial arrest, the shocking findings from the first forensic look at the car, then the tragic discovery of Kaylee's remains, which was 4 months later, and then, of course, the infamous trial that just captivated and, frankly, enraged the entire nation. We'll get into the legal strategy that secured that acquittal against just overwhelming public opinion.
And we'll end with where Casey Anthony, the central figure in all this, stands today, in the digital age.
Right.
Okay, so let's unpack this. The police finally realize that Casey's initial stories, the whole Zanny the Nanny thing, her working at Universal Studios.
All of it.
It's all completely fabricated, so they act pretty quickly.
They do. She was arrested almost immediately. We're talking July 16th, 2008. The charge was providing false information to law enforcement.
Which seems like a minor charge, really, compared to what was coming.
It does, but the implications were huge. Her bond was set at a staggering $500,000.
$500,000 for lying to the police.
Exactly. It was a clear signal of how seriously they were taking this, and the Anthony family, well, they simply could not generate that kind of cash.
So that meant she had to stay in custody.
It did. And that detention provided the prosecution with an immediate and a really crucial window into her personality.
Through the recorded jail phone calls.
Yes. And what those calls revealed about her priorities in those first few hours and days, it's just, it's astonishing.
Her whole world is collapsing. Her child is missing. Her family is under this intense national scrutiny. And yet when she gets on the phone with her parents, what's her focus?
It's not strategy. It's not remorse. It's not even, fear for Kaylee. She has one desperate, all-consuming priority.
Contacting Tony.
That's right. Tony, a man she'd only known for about 6 weeks.
So our sources show her talking to her mom, her brother Lee, a family friend.
And she repeats the exact same demand to every single person. It's, I don't want to talk about anything else. I only want Tony's phone number.
And when they can't provide it, or won't, because they're understandably focused on the missing child?
Her reaction isn't sadness or worry. It's just petulance. It's frustration. She gets irritable and actually tells them she wasted her time talking to them.
She wasted her time.
Because they couldn't satisfy this one, completely self-centered demand.
That is a major, major early indicator of the profound self-interest that would just come to define her entire public image.
Absolutely. It provided instant insight into the narcissistic traits that the prosecution would later capitalize on.
Casey?
Mom.
Hey, sweetie.
Oh, I just saw your nice little cameo on TV.
Which one?
What do you mean, which one?
Which one? I did 4 different ones, and I don't know. I haven't seen them all. I've only seen 1 or 2 so far.
You don't know what my involvement is and stuff?
Casey?
Mom.
What?
No.
I don't know what your involvement is, sweetheart. You're not telling me where she's at.
Because I don't f***ing know where she's at. Are you kidding me?
Casey, don't waste your call to
No.
scream and holler at me.
Waste my call sitting in, the jail?
Whose fault
where
is
bunks are?
Whose fault is you're sitting in the jail? You're blaming me that you're sitting in the jail?
Not
Blame
my
yourself
fault.
for telling lies. You mean it's not your fault? What do you mean it's not your fault, sweetheart? If you'd have told him the truth, They're not lied about everything. They wouldn't.
Do me a favor, just tell me what Tony's number is. I don't want to talk to you right now. Forget it.
I don't have his number.
We'll get it from Lee because I know Lee's at the house. I saw Mallory's car was out front.
Hey.
Hey, can you give me Tony's number?
I can do that. I don't know what real good it's going to do you at this point.
Well, I'd like to talk to him anyway.
Okay.
Because I called to talk to my mother, and it's f***ing waste. Oh, by the way, I don't want any of you coming up here when I have my first hearing for bond and everything else. Like, don't even waste your time coming up here.
So here's Christina. She thinks she can get through.
No, I want Tony's number. I'm not talking to anybody else.
Hello?
Hi, I'm glad everybody's at my house. I'll have to call you later. I'll have to call somebody to get your number. Do me a favor, get my brother back because I need Tony's number.
Okay, is there anything I can do for you?
I'm sitting in jail. There's nothing anybody can do right now.
Well, I'm just trying to be...
Oh, I know you are, honey. I absolutely know that you are, and I appreciate everything that you're trying to do, but I'd like to call Tony. He's not at my house, is he?
No,
Okay.
no, it's just me and your parents and Lee.
Okay, well, can you do me a favor and get my brother back or get the number from him, please?
Does Tony have anything to do with Kaylee?
No, Tony had nothing to do with Kaylee.
Oh, so why do you want to talk to him? You probably don't want to tell me.
He's my boyfriend, and I want to actually try to sit and talk to him because I didn't get a chance to talk to him earlier because I got arrested on whim today because they're blaming me for stuff that I never would do, that I didn't do.
Okay. Well, I'm on your side, you know that.
Oh, honey, I know that. I just want to talk to Tony, get a little bit of...
Casey, you have to tell me if you know anything about Kaylee.
Sweetheart,
if anything happens with Kaylee, Casey, I'll die. You understand? I'll die. If anything happens to that baby.
Oh, my God. Calling you guys? A waste. Huge waste.
Her emotional energy was entirely consumed by contacting a new boyfriend.
It really sets the stage, doesn't it? The complaint isn't, where's my daughter? It's, why won't you help me get what I want right now?
It's a profound disconnection from reality. And that behavior is exactly what required a truly aggressive legal countermove.
Which comes on July 18th, just 2 days after her arrest.
She hires her attorney, Jose Baez.
And at this point, Baez is not the legal superstar he becomes later.
Not at all. He's relatively new, he's ambitious, and he is laser-focused on self-promotion. He was actively looking for these messy, high-stakes cases to build his name.
This is where it gets really interesting for anyone who follows legal strategy, because our sources confirm Baez openly admired Johnny Cochran.
The lawyer from the O.J. Simpson trial.
He meticulously studied his techniques.
Yeah.
And that O.J. trial really demonstrated that, in a televised supercharged atmosphere, public opinion could be completely divorced from what the jury decides.
Baez learned the playbook. And the goal isn't necessarily to prove your client is innocent. It's to create enough reasonable doubt. You inject confusion, you create an alternative villain, even an unlikely one.
You flip the narrative.
Exactly. You turn the spotlight away from your defendant, and you make the state's investigation, or some other person, the target of the jury's skepticism.
So Baez walks into this case with the clear goal of making this his own O.J. moment.
It was purely a psychological and, frankly, a theatrical strategy. It's designed for a televised court. He knew the state had powerful circumstantial evidence.
But no smoking gun, no definitive cause of death, no murder weapon.
And he aimed to capitalize on that lack of certainty. And you see that commitment to self-preservation from Casey immediately.
Right, on July 29th.
Just weeks after her arrest, prosecutors offer her a limited immunity deal.
A chance to tell the truth about where Kaylee is.
A final chance to avoid massive legal jeopardy. I mean, potentially even revealing Kaylee's location if she were still alive.
And she refused it.
She refused the deal. She stuck to her Zany the nanny kidnapping story.
So she was fully committed to fighting a murder charge.
She was. And by this time, the case had just exploded. It was a national obsession. Cable news gold.
You had news crews camped outside the Anthony home 24/7, crowds gathering, demanding answers.
And through all of this, Casey's demeanor in custody, it just stayed consistent. She appeared sarcastic, tense, openly hostile toward her mother during visits.
But she only wanted to speak with her father, George.
Right. And her core complaint, which really foreshadowed the entire defense strategy, was always about her own suffering.
I'm the one suffering. I'm the victim here.
That profound reversal of reality, casting herself as the victim while her 2-year-old child was missing, it was a deeply chilling insight for anyone watching this unfold.
Good morning.
Good morning, beautiful. I love you.
Hi, I love you too. Why is she crying already?
Because we haven't seen you.
I know. We're not doing well, Case. None of us. Lee's been sick. Dad's blown up at the media. Yeah, I heard. Well, someone just said that Kaylee was dead this morning, that she drowned in the pool. That's the newest story out there. Surprise, surprise. Did Jose ask you about which one of us you'd want to meet with? Yeah, I wanted to see Dad. I mean, I wanted to see everybody, but I had to choose, and I wanted to see Dad. All right. Well, then here, talk to your dad.
Hey, sweetheart.
Hey.
Hey, listen, I want you to know, you are the boss through this whole thing, okay?
Well, no, I'm not anymore, Dad. I haven't been since I got here.
Yes. Oh, yes, you are. You are the... think of this for a second.
Dad, I've been...
Listen,
okay,
listen, no,
I've been
just listen to
thinking
me
about
just for
this.
1 moment.
We've given the information. You guys have given everything to the police. They're not helping us. It's obvious. We know their intentions. So, I'm sorry. I've helped in every way that I possibly can since the day I got here. Let me speak for a second. Dad, I've let everybody talk.
Okay.
They're not releasing it. Well, I hope not. I'll keep saying whatever I have to about the police,
here's Mom.
so they
Hold
don't
on
let it go.
second.
Can someone let me... Come on!
Casey, hold on, sweetheart. Settle down, baby.
Nobody's letting me speak. You want me to talk? Then
All right,
give me
I'll listen to
3
you.
seconds to see
Go,
something.
sweetheart.
I'm not in control over any of this because I don't know what the hell's going on. I don't know what's going on. My entire life has been taken from me. Everything has been taken from me. You don't understand. Mom, I know what I'm honestly up against. You guys understand what I'm honestly up against. And with keeping me here, you're not helping me help myself.
Well, at least
I'm
you're
sorry to
safe.
say that. Huh?
You're safe, honey. We don't have the means to get you out anyway, sweetheart. We don't.
I understand that, but the opportunity was there, and it wasn't taken advantage of, and...
We didn't have an opportunity. I don't know where you're hearing this.
Just give Dad the phone, please. I'm sorry. I don't want to get frustrated. Just give Dad the phone.
Hey, sweetie.
This is seriously the first time that I've been angry. That I've been this frustrated to where I can't even think straight at this moment. Throughout this entire thing, I was pissed off that day at the police station. I was mad when all of that happened. But I tried to look at things objectively. And this entire time, I haven't sat in my room for the entire month and been mad. Not once. Not one time. But right now, this is the most agitated and frustrated that I've been, even when I've sat with Jose and I watched that episode of Nancy Grace and the stuff that was being said about Mom and being said about me and him and everybody else and the stuff that I've heard. It's frustrated me, but I've let it go. Right now, I'm so hurt by everything. I don't even know what to say. And I hate to say that.
So while Casey is building this legal team and, isolating herself emotionally, the physical search for Kaylee is going on.
But with, catastrophic errors.
So on August 11, we meet a really crucial and tragic figure in this story, a utility worker named Roy Kronk.
He was reading meters near the Anthony home, steps into a wooded area to relieve himself, and he notices a gray bag.
And there's something white sticking out of it.
Something white. Maybe a bone, maybe fabric, he wasn't sure. But Kronk was conscientious. He called law enforcement immediately. He gave them the exact location, and he even noted how close it was to the Anthony home.
How can I help you, sir?
I'm a meter reader with Orange County, and I had the route today that included the Anthony's home.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I went down to the school and came back, and when I was coming back, I stopped between the two swamp areas there. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about or not.
No, but go ahead.
But there's a stretch of road there that goes from where the start of their road is down to a school, and in between it on either side there's a swamp. And if you're heading back out towards the main road on the left-hand side, in an area, I noticed something that looked white, and there was a gray bag down in there. I don't know what it is. I'm not telling you it's Kaylee or anything of that nature. And there's like a big swamp area there, and we found a dead 4-foot eastern diamond rattleback there, but that's not really the thing. There's like two little in areas you can go, and there's a big long tree laying down, and there's a lot of swamp back in there. Well, back behind one of the trees down there was a gray bag, and then a little bit further up than that, I saw something white. But after I saw that 4-foot eastern diamond rattlesnake, I'm not going in that crap.
Okay, I'll let him know.
I appreciate you, and once again, I had no idea what it was, and I don't want to waste any more of the county's money, but I'm just telling you I saw something.
Not a problem.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
But that was just the start of this procedural failure.
It was. He called again on August 12th.
And a third time.
A third time on August 13th. He even drove out there multiple times, ready to guide the officers right to the spot. He was desperate to make them take it seriously.
So on that third call, what happens?
2 officers are finally dispatched. But the area is typical Central Florida swamp, you know? It's muddy, it's overgrown. One of the officers slips, gets irritated,
Oh, no.
and tells Roy that what he saw was just trash back there. They do a cursory, dismissive check, and they leave.
So Roy, who's been trying to do the right thing for 3 days, just gives up.
He felt completely ignored and frustrated. He stopped trying to report it, and it's just an almost unimaginable failure that delayed the discovery by 4 critical months.
And meanwhile, the police are still in this wild goose chase with Casey's Zanny the Nanny story.
They did track down the real Zenaida Fernandez Gonzalez.
The woman whose name Casey just plucked out of thin air.
Exactly. And the police quickly confirmed, she'd never met Casey, never met Kaylee. It completely dismantled that lie. But the damage to Zenaida, it was immediate and severe.
She became a victim of circumstance in this media firestorm.
Her life just collapsed for months. She was harassed, she was threatened, she lost jobs, all because she happened to share a name with Casey's invention.
Did she ever sue?
She filed a defamation lawsuit, but it ultimately failed. It was just too complex to prove the specific financial damages from the incident. She was a true casualty of Casey's lies.
And in the middle of all this chaos, the story takes another sharp turn.
A turn into high drama. Enter Leonard Padilla.
The California bounty hunter.
Right. Padilla agrees to pay Casey's $50,000 bond installment.
Now, this wasn't altruism.
Not even close. He risked his own money because he was wagering that once Casey was out of jail, she would break. She'd talk. And then he could claim the $250,000 reward for finding Kaylee.
He was betting on human psychology. But he really underestimated Casey's capacity for just sustained deception.
He did. So on August 21st, Casey walks out of jail smiling and goes back home. Padilla immediately starts pressing her for the truth.
And what does he get?
Another lie, an even more elaborate one. She claims that Zanny and Zanny's sister kidnapped Kaylee because Casey owed them money.
Oh, my goodness.
She even claimed they gave her a written note telling her exactly what lies to tell the police. And Padilla realized instantly he wasn't dealing with a fragile, remorseful mother. He was dealing with a cold, calculating liar.
And the bizarre reality of that household really hit him with the pizza anecdote.
The pizza anecdote, yes. Anonymous pizzas start showing up at the house.
Probably sent by trolls as a reference to the moldy pizza they found in her trunk.
Very likely. And Padilla just watches in disbelief as the whole family, Cindy, George, Casey, they just start devouring slice after slice of pizza from unknown, potentially dangerous senders.
He confronts them, right?
He snaps. He's furious. He realizes the family is so detached from the gravity of the situation that they're willing to risk being poisoned for a free meal. He thought, are you serious? You're just eating them.
That was it for him.
That was the last straw. He knew Casey was just mocking him, had no intention of cooperating, so he immediately asked for the bond to be revoked.
He risked $50,000 for absolutely nothing.
And Casey's little moment of freedom was over. She was arrested again barely a week later, this time for financial fraud.
Stolen checks and money from her friend Amy.
Yep. And that's when the narrative really shifted from a missing child case to a case about a pathological liar and a petty criminal.
So as all this public drama is unfolding, the forensic work is finally starting to produce some tangible clues.
It is. George Anthony had reported that smell of decomposition in the Pontiac's trunk, and investigators confirmed the car yielded some really disturbing chemical evidence.
And the most significant finding was microscopic, but incredibly powerful.
A single hair found in the trunk. It was a natural color consistent with Kaylee's, not the dyed hair of Casey or Cindy. But more importantly, this hair displayed a feature called the post-mortem band.
Okay, let's pause there because that's a very specific forensic term. What exactly is a post-mortem band, and why is that one tiny piece of evidence so crucial?
Right. It's a specific biological indicator. So when a hair separates from a body, a dark band appears near the root. It's a biological change that shows decomposition has begun at the root end.
So it only appears on hair from a body that's already decomposing.
Exactly. It doesn't show up in living tissue or even recently deceased tissue. The presence of this band on Kaylee's hair in that trunk was a strong scientific indicator that a body was decomposing in the car.
Which completely refutes any claim that the car was just used to transport a live person.
Or even that the body was already skeletonized when it was placed there. It fundamentally changes the case from a missing child scenario to a concealment of death scenario.
And there was more, wasn't there? Something about chloroform.
Yes. Investigators detected residue believed to be chloroform in the trunk lining.
Which is known as an anesthetic.
Yeah.
It can cause unconsciousness, even death.
In high amounts, yes. And finding even a trace of it was highly significant.
Why? Because it evaporates so quickly.
Precisely. Because it evaporates so fast, finding any residue at all trapped in those carpet fibers suggested that a considerable amount must have been present at some point.
And that gave the prosecution their potential method of death.
It did. Incapacitation or sedation leading to death. And it linked directly to those highly suspicious computer searches we'll get to later.
And finally, you have the cadaver dogs.
Yes. The specialized dogs trained to detect the gases from human decomposition, alerted on the Pontiac trunk, and crucially, in the Anthony's backyard.
Where in the backyard?
Specifically near the small playhouse. So all these early findings, the chemical, the biological, the behavioral, they all pointed away from a kidnapping and directly toward the home in Casey's car as the scene of the crime.
So the investigation stalls through the summer, despite Roy Kronk's calls. And now we jump to December 11th, 2008.
A devastating 4 months after that initial report, and Roy Kronk goes back to the area on his own time.
And the landscape is completely different.
Totally different. The heavy rain had receded, water levels were way down, and the summer vegetation had died back. You could actually see.
And that's when he saw it.
Clearly visible, a small human skull.
Yes, this is Orange County Utilities Emergency Dispatch. We found a human skull.
Oh my gosh.
I know. We got is it a meter reader?
Yes.
I'm going to let you speak right now with the representative from our field services. This is Benny with Orange County Utilities.
How are you doing?
Hey, Rusty.
One of my meter readers supposedly has found a skull of that he believes is human.
What's the location, please?
It's right off of Suburban and Chickasaw in the Kelly Anthony area, right by the...
Oh. And what is your party's name that we're going to meet with?
His name is Roy, R-O-Y, Kronk, K-R-O-N-K.
He's not touching this, I hope.
No,
K-R-O-N-K. And he's a...
He's a meter reader.
Meter reader?
Yeah, and I'll just tell him to stay at that location and just stay away from everything.
Okay.
It's hard to overstate the tragedy of that 4-month delay, all because of an irritated police officer.
Well, the initial search teams had been close, but the area was dangerous. Swampy, alligators, snakes. Visibility was near zero until that seasonal change.
So authorities swarm the scene.
They do. And they recover nearly the entire small skeleton. Within a week, the medical examiner confirmed the inevitable, devastating news.
The remains belonged to Kaylee Murray Anthony.
Yes. And the location. It wasn't miles away in some remote area. It was approximately 200 meters from the Anthony's front door.
2-minute walk.
A 2-minute walk. That proximity was shocking. It spoke volumes about the killer's familiarity with the area, their sense of urgency.
They wanted to dispose of the body quickly but stay close to home.
The killer knew that environment intimately.
Okay, so when the medical examiner gets the remains, the body is fully skeletonized.
Yes. The term is skeletonization. It means only the durable parts, bones, teeth remain. The Florida heat and humidity had destroyed all the soft tissue.
Which makes a couple of things nearly impossible in forensic terms.
It does. First, determining the cause of death. No tissue means no toxicology, no signs of strangulation or suffocation.
And second, understanding the exact scenario. Did she die there, or was the body moved?
Right. The absence of soft tissue just severely crippled the prosecution's ability to prove the mechanism of death beyond a reasonable doubt.
But despite the lack of soft tissue, there was one piece of physical evidence that screamed foul play: the infamous duct tape.
3 strips were found adhered to the small skull, with Kaylee's hairs attached. And critically, investigators found rolls of the exact same brand of duct tape inside the Anthony home.
And how certain was the medical examiner about when that tape was applied?
She was highly certain. The tape was attached before decomposition began, while the body was still intact.
And its positioning.
It was covering the lower face and jaw, consistent with severe airway obstruction, though she couldn't definitively say it covered the nose and mouth enough to cause death.
But here's maybe the most damning part of it all.
The tape yielded no fingerprints and no DNA from anyone else, only from Kaylee herself.
And we know how the body was concealed, too. wrapped in a Winnie the Pooh blanket,
which was confirmed to be missing from Kaylee's crib bedding set at the house.
then placed inside a laundry bag, which was part of a household set.
And then finally sealed inside 2 large garbage bags.
So this all brings us to the ultimate legal finding, even with no identifiable cause of death.
The medical examiner ruled the case a homicide. The rationale was absolute. No natural death results in a child being wrapped, bagged, and found with duct tape on her head. The fact that all the containment materials, the blanket, the bag, the tape, all traced back to the Anthony home strongly suggested the perpetrator was an insider.
So the duct tape was the key piece of evidence that defined the manner of death, not the cause.
Exactly.
The trauma from this was just widespread. And about 6 weeks after they found Kaylee's remains, on January 22, 2009, something happens with George Anthony.
He checks into a hotel room in Daytona Beach. He'd taken a large quantity of pills in a suicide attempt.
Police found him alive, though.
They did. They also found a handwritten note. It detailed his despair, explicitly saying he couldn't cope with losing Kaylee and wished it had been him instead.
And the defense, of course, would later seize on that.
Immediately, as potential evidence of his guilt or, some deep-seated remorse.
Then, on April 13, 2009, the prosecution raises the stakes dramatically.
They announced they will seek the death penalty.
Which was, looking back, a critical juncture in the case.
It was the single most consequential strategic decision they made, and arguably their biggest mistake. Because by seeking the death penalty, they committed themselves to a vastly higher burden of proof. It automatically activates a deeper reluctance in any potential juror to vote for a conviction.
Because a life is on the line.
Right. So the prosecution's theory, aiming for capital punishment, had to be rock solid. They argued that Casey used chloroform to sedate Kaylee.
The residue from the trunk.
Placed duct tape over her head, and the child died, likely suffocated, inside the trunk of the Pontiac. The body stayed there for days, which explains the decomposition odor and the post-mortem banded hair.
And to connect it all back to Casey, they kept emphasizing that the blanket, the laundry bag, the duct tape, it all traced back to her household.
And we should briefly address the jailhouse informants.
This comes up in almost every major case.
It does. Several inmates claimed Casey confessed to them, usually something about using chloroform or Benadryl to sedate Kaylee so she could go party.
But you have to take that with a huge grain of salt.
A massive one. These are convicted felons, almost universally speaking, for personal gain. To get a better deal, reduce their sentence. The testimony is inherently unreliable.
So the trial finally begins April 24th, 2011. 3 years after Kaylee's death.
And the case had been saturated by global media. Finding an unbiased jury was nearly impossible. Public opinion had already convicted her. She was the most hated woman in America.
And before the trial, she underwent psychiatric evaluations, right?
Comprehensive evaluations. And the result was she was clean, no psychosis, no mental illness, no disorder that could serve as a mitigating factor.
So everything she did, including the complex web of lies, was done with full awareness.
And full intent. So the prosecution relied entirely on this mountain of circumstantial evidence. They built a powerful picture of total indifference.
The post-mortem banded hair, the chloroform traces, the fact she never reported Kaylee missing.
And her month of partying, the clubs, the hot body contest, getting that Bella Vita tattoo.
Which means the good life.
It all suggested not the grief of an accident, but total liberation.
And then you have the single most compelling piece of circumstantial evidence.
The computer searches. On the family computer, on March 17th and March 21st, 2008, someone searched for some highly incriminating terms.
Let's list them, because they are crucial to the prosecution's theory of premeditation.
They searched for chloroform, how to make chloroform inhalation and death, and then homemade weapons and neck breaking.
This isn't an accident. This is a pattern of deliberate, deadly research.
It suggests specific intent. And the defense tried to dismantle this, of course. Cindy claims she was the one searching.
For chlorophyll.
And that autocorrect changed it. But that defense just crumbled under scrutiny. Investigators provided precise timestamps for those searches. They confirmed both Cindy and George were verifiably at work when those searches were conducted.
And more than that.
The search activity was interspersed with activity on Casey's social media accounts, tying her directly to the keyboard. The chlorophyll excuse just doesn't explain the whole pattern.
It's incredibly powerful evidence. It suggests premeditation well before Kaylee even disappeared.
And this is where Jose Baez earns his reputation. He knew the circumstantial evidence was strong, so his strategy wasn't to prove innocence.
It was to create absolute paralyzing reasonable doubt about who did it and how it happened.
His first move was to attack the source of the discovery. He went after Roy Kronk,
The utility worker who found the remains.
The defense put forward this bizarre theory that Roy Kronk, who had some financial problems, found the remains somewhere else, moved them near the Anthony home, and then rediscovered them to claim the reward money.
But the logic of that is, it's just glaringly inconsistent. Why move the body? The reward would be paid no matter where he found it.
Exactly. There was zero financial motive. And the physical evidence, the vegetation that had grown through the bones and bags, proved the remains had been there for months.
So the attack on Kronk was just noise.
Pure, successful conjecture designed to inject doubt into the jury's perception of the state's most powerful evidence,
Yeah.
the location.
Then came the real bombshell, the alternative scenario, the drowning story.
Baez claimed Kaylee was never kidnapped, never murdered. Instead, she drowned accidentally in the family's above-ground pool on June 16, 2008.
And that narrative was chosen very carefully.
Very. Drowning is a leading cause of accidental death for young children in Florida. It gave the setup immediate plausibility for the jury. He established a non-homicidal scenario for the death itself.
But Baez wasn't done. He dropped a second, even more explosive bombshell.
This was the psychological cornerstone of the entire defense. He accused George Anthony of sexually abusing Casey, starting when she was 8, and her brother Lee from age 12.
The argument being that this sustained trauma is what explained her pathological lying and her emotional numbness.
Exactly. He argued it forced her to disconnect emotionally. She learned to lie convincingly just to survive a traumatic home.
And this alleged abuse tied perfectly into the drowning cover-up theory.
Perfectly. Baez claimed George found the drowned child, blamed Casey, panicked, wrapped the body in household items, and dumped her 200 meters away.
Telling Casey he would handle everything.
So Casey's subsequent lying was framed as a trauma response. She was protecting herself and potentially the family secret.
But we have to analyze the George inconsistency here. George Anthony was a former cop.
Over a decade in law enforcement, how likely is it that he, a man who knows forensic procedures, evidence contamination, would handle a cover-up so sloppily?
Using his granddaughter's blanket, a household laundry bag, and dumping the body a 2-minute walk from his front door.
It strains credulity. The jury had to believe this cascade of highly improbable events. The pool ladder just happened to be left down. A seasoned cop behaved with irrational sloppiness.
And that Casey, the supposed victim, would instantly fall silent to protect her abuser.
It's a lot to ask. So the defense relied on generating enough noise to make the jury skeptical of the whole family. They even introduced a witness, Crystal Holloway,
a volunteer searcher who later claimed she'd had an affair with George.
And she testified that George confided in her that Kaylee drowned accidentally.
But her credibility was, let's say, highly questionable.
Highly. She used the exact rehearsed phrase Baez used in his opening, an accident that snowballed out of control. It suggested she was coached.
And she sold her story to the National Enquirer.
For money. You have to ask the critical question. Would a former police officer admit to a capital crime cover-up to a woman he'd only known for a month or two? It seems unlikely.
The defense's strategy was clear. Throw everything at the wall and see what sticks. Maximize that crucial commodity. Reasonable doubt.
And the trial lasted 6 intense weeks. The world was watching, absolutely convinced of a guilty verdict.
Then, on July 5, 2011, the jury announces the verdict. Not guilty.
Not guilty on all serious charges. First-degree murder, aggravated child abuse, aggravated manslaughter. She was only found guilty on 4 misdemeanor counts of lying to law enforcement.
And the national reaction was just immediate shock, palpable disappointment.
It felt like the second coming of the O.J. acquittal. The jurors were publicly excoriated.
So how did the prosecution lose a case with so much circumstantial evidence and such a universally disliked defendant?
They relied on indicators, the odor, the hair, the lies, but they fundamentally lacked forensic certainty. No confirmed cause of death, no murder weapon, no DNA tying Casey directly to the act of killing.
Which brings us back to the prosecution's biggest strategic error.
Seeking the death penalty. When you seek to take a person's life, the evidence has to be absolutely undeniable. The case against Casey, while strong, was certainly deniable by a skilled defense attorney like Baez.
He just had to punch small, focus holes in their claims.
And he did. A jury, reluctant to impose the death penalty on speculation, will often choose the path of acquittal. It was, ironically, the defense's greatest gift.
The immediate aftermath saw Jose Baez's career just explode.
He became the lawyer who got the most hated mother in America acquitted. It catapulted him to national fame. He got clients like Aaron Hernandez and eventually Harvey Weinstein.
And then there's the evidence that emerged too late, a year after the acquittal, in 2012.
Investigators found that the family computer contained searches for suffocation made on the exact day Kaylee disappeared.
How did they miss that?
It was an incredible investigative failure. The original team had only checked the Internet Explorer browser history. They completely missed the suffocation searches in the Firefox browser.
But legally, it couldn't change anything.
Nothing. Because of double jeopardy. She could confess today, and legally, nothing could happen to her for those charges.
So, with the trial over, speculation continues about what really happened. What are the strongest alternative theories?
There are two main accidental death theories that still hold some weight. First, the sedative theory. The idea that Zanny the nanny was code for Xanax.
So, Casey gave her too much to sedate her so she could go party, leading to an overdose.
Right. The second is the heat death theory. That Casey left Kaylee in the car and she died of heat stroke in the Florida sun.
But both of those accident theories are really challenged by the physical evidence.
The duct tape.
The duct tape, placed on the skull before decomposition, argues strongly against an accidental drowning or overdose. It implies a deliberate act of concealment or incapacitation.
Absolutely. And when you couple that with her behavior, the month of clubbing, the Bella Vita tattoo, it doesn't look like the panicked cover-up of a tragic accident. It looks like liberation.
The computer searches suggest a calculated act. Chloroform, homemade poisons.
It led to a darker, more speculative theory. Casey told her friend Amy that her parents were leaving the house to her, and the computer had searches for defense killing and self-defense murder.
Terms usually associated with adult victims.
It suggests the disturbing possibility that she might have been planning violence against her parents, and the lie about getting the house was part of that plan. It's speculative, but it confirms her mind was actively exploring violence.
And the family today?
Their relationship with Casey is mostly severed. George, in 2017, publicly stated he believes Casey was involved in Kaylee's death. Cindy, however, remains what sources describe as eternally delusional, still insisting her daughter didn't harm the child.
And then there's Casey's own post-acquittal narrative, which culminates in a 2022 documentary,
where she attempts to rewrite her own history. She doubles down on the trauma narrative, claiming her father and brother abused her. She also completely denies the pool drowning theory.
She claims Baez invented that.
Right. Her new claim is that she woke up, found Kaylee wet, and George took the body and said he would handle everything, shifting the blame entirely onto him.
But the core issue is consistency. She wrote letters in jail saying she had no memory of the abuse. She repeatedly sought out George during jail visits, calling him a good father.
It reiterates the crucial point about evaluating her claims. She has a long-established history of being an exceptionally convincing liar. Her new claims just can't be taken at face value without verifiable evidence.
So the narrative continues to evolve, pushing into, I guess, the newest frontier of public redemption. Social media.
Yes. On March 1st, 2025, Casey Anthony reappeared on TikTok, the platform with the youngest audience.
A textbook strategic move.
It's targeting digital amnesia. She's deliberately reaching out to a younger demographic that didn't experience the trial in real time. They don't have that ingrained visceral memory of the outrage.
I mean, her profile is highly curated. Researcher, consultant, advocate.
She films these short, stylized videos where she suggests she wants to stand up for herself, her daughter, and those who have no voice. I sweat to death. Okay.
Today is Saturday, March 1st, 2025. This is my first of probably many recordings on a series that I'm starting. I am a legal advocate. I am a researcher. I've been in the legal field since 2011. And in this capacity, I feel that it's necessary, if I'm going to continue to operate appropriately as a legal advocate, that I start to advocate for myself and also advocate for my daughter. For those of you who don't know, my name is Casey Anthony. My daughter is Kaylee Anthony. My parents are George and Cindy Anthony. This is not about them. This is not in response to anything that they have said or done. That's not to say that I'm not going to respond at some point to some of the things that they have said and done. The whole point of this is for me to begin to reintroduce myself. I'm doing this both personally for me, but in a professional capacity. Moving forward, the majority of what you will see will be me speaking in a professional capacity. My goal is to continue to help give a voice to people.
It's the modern polarization economy. Platforms like TikTok reward controversial figures because they generate massive engagement.
We've seen this playbook with others like Gypsy Rose Blanchard. The goal isn't to convince everyone.
It's just to stay in the conversation.
Precisely. She doesn't need universal acceptance. She needs engagement. The controversy is the product. She subtly reintroduces the narrative that she was unfairly victimized.
It's an astonishing second act.
Yet the most tragic fact remains unchanged. Kaylee Marie Anthony died 2 months before her 3rd birthday. If she were alive today, she'd be 20 years old.
And the ultimate responsibility for her safety rested with the adults in her life, and none of them managed to protect her.
The truth of her final hours is lost, buried by lies and decomposition. But the fact remains. Her death was ruled a homicide with an undetermined cause.
So we have spent this deep dive unpacking this mountain of circumstantial evidence, the catastrophic failures of the initial investigation, and the masterful legal defense that led to one of the most controversial acquittals in American history.
And this case really exposed fundamental flaws, not just within a single, deeply fractured family, but in the media's capacity for obsession and the justice system's limitations when faced with this kind of evidence.
So as you reflect on this case, on the duct tape, the chloroform, the lies, and the verdict, consider this final provocative thought.
If the evidence against Casey was compelling enough for the state of Florida to seek the death penalty, why did the jury ultimately acquit?
The answer, really, lies in the system's insistence on undeniable proof. The moment Jose Baez introduced that plausible, if inconsistent, accidental grounding theory, coupled with the prosecution going for capital punishment.
The gap between strong suspicion and absolute certainty just became insurmountable. The justice system demands that undeniable proof, even when the alternative, a mother walking free after her child's homicide, seems utterly unimaginable.
Thank you for joining us for this deep dive into the Casey Anthony case.